Hello and good afternoon, Conversation 1. This is week 12. I hope if you have any questions related to the last presentation that you send me an email or contact me before you finish your presentation. A couple of students just sent me emails asking about their topic. Like I said, the topic is open, but be aware that some topics are better than others, as I explained. A really general topic that's too big for 5 minutes is not a good choice. Something that's very complicated, that is difficult to explain, is not good either. Something that's super simple and basic and too easy is not good either. Other than that, it doesn't really matter, but you must speak in English, and I don't want you to read. I want you to speak to the camera, like I do. So occasionally I do read for 30 seconds maximum usually. The same goes for you. If you read 4.5 minutes and speak for 30 seconds, you'll get a bad grade. If you speak for 5 minutes and you read a little bit here and there, check your notes, but mostly you're staring at the camera like I am, or staring in the same place on the screen, there will be no problem, okay? If you don't follow the guidelines, you're gonna lose marks, and if it looks like you're cheating, or you handed in too late. Any presentation that's handed in late will get a late penalty, and if it's a week late, it gets a 0. I don't have time to do grading in the middle of June or the end of June, so you have to meet the deadline, okay? If it's a week late though, I'll still accept it, but the grade will be much lower. So make sure you finish it by the deadline. The written description of the presentation guidelines is on my website. You can access that anytime through the Cyber Campus or directly to my website. So, like I said, Chapter 9 today, Chapter 10, those are the last 2 topics that you have to cover for the exam. And week 14 will be an exam review, and week 15 will be the final exam. I had a student email me about the exam schedule. I can't tell you that because the administration hasn't organized properly. I've had to find rooms for everybody. The coronavirus numbers have to be checked, and then the administration has to approve and coordinate everybody's exams. We're not allowed to have too many people in the building. This is one of the hardest things. Exam schedules are always difficult to manage, but I would like to have you visit the campus for your exam. This is our only chance to meet each other the whole semester, and I feel like that we should, and that you should realize I'm a real person and that I care, and we can have a short little chat. We'll probably spread out the exams a lot. I haven't decided the schedule yet, but we'll make a schedule and we'll spread them out so that you're not, in a rush to get in and out of the office. That's the plan so far, but there's going to be, if the coronavirus numbers stay the same, there's actually going to be a limit on how many students can be in this building at one time. So I think it was 150 students could be so you can schedule exams up to the 150 student limit all day, right? So if we pick Tuesday morning or we pick Monday afternoon, there has to be a total of no more than 150 students writing in this building. It depends on the level, the level of danger of coronavirus, but according to last year's criteria, right now, that would be the limit. So if they increase the number because we have better system for checking people, and all the, desks are spread out, sanitizer is available, people are screened better at the front door, maybe they'll increase the quota. I don't know, but you're gonna have to wait. I'm sorry. Our exam for this Conversation 1 class is somewhat flexible because all of you are going to have your interviews at different times. So don't worry about this one. We'll figure it out, all right? The big class I teach and the composition classes, you guys all write together. Those girls and guys, women and men, they are all going to, if it's one of you, you're gonna write it all together. So that's a little bit more difficult to schedule. But for us, don't worry. We can figure out a time. If you can't get here or the coronavirus is bad, then there'll be some online. Basically, last semester, most of the students did it online, but the students that wanted to do it in person did it in person. So I would say about 80% were online on Zoom and 20% came to my office. We will figure that out, but let's just get these chapters taken care of. And probably in the next 2 weeks, by the end of May, I will certainly let you know when we're having our exam. Exactly, okay? And we'll make a schedule for interviews. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is entitled, I Love Chocolate. Now, there's a broad opinion, there's a wide group of people, wide opinion about chocolate. A lot of people like it, obviously, primarily because there's a lot of sugar in there. You got to remember, there's all kinds of different types of chocolate: milk chocolate, dark chocolate, light chocolate, fudge, cacao, pure cacao, and so on. And the type of chocolate we eat today would not be recognizable to anybody who ate chocolate in the past, in the pre-Columbian era. It used to be eaten normally as a drink. They used to make this drink, not blend it, but grind it up and then heat it up and kind of make some kind of chocolate drink out of it. That's what was popular in native North America. And then we started, adding sugar and milk and cream and turning them into egg shapes and bars and all kinds of stuff. Those are confectionery treats. That's not what chocolate was like originally. Now you can still buy dark chocolate, and you can buy cacao itself, and you will notice it's very bitter. So it has been changed so that it becomes more appealing to our modern tastes, right? The point about chocolate, though, is an incredible variety of things made from chocolate. They put in everything, and people can get addicted to it very easily. So this is about addiction, it's about obsession, it's about desire for things. Let's talk about things, not necessarily people. There's a gentle rain falling in the background. I hope everyone can hear me. Maybe I'll... That's probably better. I don't want somebody to phone in saying, "Professor, I couldn't hear anything you were saying." This happened once. So anyway, sometimes it rains and sometimes the windows are open because it's hot. So you just have to deal with it. I'll speak loudly. There's all kinds of recipes. There's different quantities and sizes and types and shapes. There's been, in the last few hundred years, an explosion of different types of snacks and candies. One of my favorite movies is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was a book I read by Roald Dahl first, but I love that movie, not the Johnny Depp one, the old one, the Gene Wilder one. But anyway, what Willy Wonka does is basically make everything out of chocolate and candy. You can, there's trees and branches and little houses, and you can eat the road. You can eat pieces of fences, and you can eat the grass, right? And there's a chocolate river going through. This is basically what our selection is like these days. You can go back you don't have to go back very far to find a Korea. Your grandparents probably had very little chocolate, and that chocolate and candy and chewing gum were something that when the United States military came here in the Korean War, that's something that they had, that children used to try and ask them for, and sometimes they would share it, and which is a very touching gesture, I guess. But at the same time, children eat too much of this stuff, and it's not healthy for you by any stretch of the imagination. So you have to control yourself. It's just like when you get older. Some of you might drink coffee, so you know what I mean. Everybody has their thing. Okay, it might be alcohol, it might be cigarettes, it might be chocolate, it might be fast food, fried chicken, Everybody has their weak point. Some people are very good at controlling their cravings and resisting it, but some people just love certain things. I don't know what to say about I'm pretty good about stuff. I like alcohol. I've always been attracted to alcohol for some reason. I smoked when I was younger. That is an addictive substance. There's a chemical in there that makes you addicted, and for some reason I found it unattractive at the same time. And after I smoked on and off in my 20s, I quit. How old am I now? 39. I quit about 8 years ago, and never smoked again. So you can break addictions too. You get hooked on things, and sometimes it's related to your environment. We have like what we call mental addictions. So it gives you emotional comfort, and you have to be careful of these things, because what happens is you become dependent on them, right? Even if it's not cigarettes, which has nicotine, which makes you physically addicted to it, or it's alcohol, which has, it's a depressant and can also provide emotional and mental and physical, influences on your body. Even if it's not something like that, your body's going to have a reaction if you get into a habit where you need it, right? You need it to function, and you need it. Like if you wake up in the morning and if you don't have your 5 cups of coffee, you have a headache and you're angry and you can't work with people, you're addicted to coffee. And it's not the end of the world, because that's not going to kill you, but it's certainly going to put you on edge, and maybe it's going to affect your blood pressure, and it's going to affect your interactions with people and how happy you are. So, as my mother says, everything in moderation. Too many strawberries and you're going to have a stomach ache, right? That was the classic introduction. I was in a strawberry patch and I was picking strawberries with my mom, and she said, don't eat the strawberries. And I was picking them and putting one in my mouth and one in the basket. And she said, if you eat a couple strawberries, you're going to have a stomach ache. And I continued and didn't pay attention to her. I did fill the whole basket, but I probably filled my stomach with 100 strawberries, and I paid for it. And that's the first time I was in elementary school. First time I remember her saying, everything in moderation, Jeremy. See what happens when you eat too much of something? So yes, it has a lot to do with habits. Now, you can go any way with this. You don't have to focus on addiction. You can just say obsession is a little bit more like you think about it all the time, but you restrain yourself. Addiction means you can't handle it, really. Like if you're addicted to something, it means that you're anxious and stressed out, and you feel withdrawal symptoms. Obsession means you really, really like something. If I'm obsessed with chocolate, but you don't have to have it, and it's not going to ruin your day. It's not going to make you sweat or grind your teeth or, snap at people or get shaky or have dry mouth. But as soon as you see a delicious Black Forest cake, you can't help it. You have to have a piece, but you're not eating it every day. Then that's more along the lines of what obsession means. So obsession is a very, very strong desire for something, but it's not completely out of your control. You just think about it a lot. So it's not good to be obsessive either. So quantity, moderation, discussion, environment, all of these things are important in considering, your interaction with substances. It doesn't even have to be a substance, because sometimes it's a behavior, right? Some people are addicted to, for example, internet shopping. This apparently is a real condition, that people use it as stress relief, and that they do it and can't control it, so that they don't have enough money to pay for it, and it causes real stress and problems in their life. It temporarily relieves their stress when they buy things, but then usually after, when they have to deal with the consequences, which is money and perhaps what other people think of the products or their disappointment or regret. Those things are very complicated. So, and then whatever the outcome, positive or negative, you go back again. That's part of addiction too. It's like if you're addicted to drinking and you drink too much and you vomit, you should take a break and not do it for a while. Reduce, take a break. Your stomach is telling you and your body's telling you don't do it. But if you jump back on, the drinking, the bandwagon and drink again the next day, you're starting to get into a routine, which doesn't really reflect what's happening to you. Is it a positive thing at that point? You're getting carried away and the drink is controlling you instead of you controlling the drink. Okay? So, you get to choose anything you want. Shopping, chocolate, candy, coffee, cigarettes, alcohol. There are other possibilities. Those are just some that I think of off the top of my head. It can be something you consume, or it be something that you use, or something that you do. It doesn't have to be yourself. It can be an example, but I think it's easier to talk about a specific person than it is to just talk abstractly. Instead of saying, some people are addicted to, so I don't really want a definition of addiction to chocolate or addiction to drugs, or it's better to talk about a person or a group or a friend or an acquaintance or a celebrity, and talk about the specific problems that they had with a certain obsession or addiction. Now, if you think you're a very strong person and that you can control your consumption and behavior some people are. I'm not really one of those people. Some people have a more addictive personality. It's a kind of, a sort of anxious, impulsive, energetic person is more likely to get hooked by things than somebody who is calm and methodical and thoughtful and shy and any of those things. Not all of them. Careful, right? Hesitant, reasonable. All of these personality types might not get sort of drawn in by these types of things as much. But it's, everybody's different. For some people, things are very attractive and other people aren't. I occasionally really want chocolate or ice cream. Occasionally. But I have to say it's weekly or monthly. Really nothing compared to some people like, I have to have my chocolate today. Some people are like that. They're like, I need a piece of chocolate. I don't care if it's an ice cream chocolate bar, a piece of cake, it's chocolate milk, or a chocolate bar, or some kind of candy. It doesn't matter. Fudge. They just need some of it because, it comforts them. No, nothing here. Even when I was younger, I like chocolate bars, but one time here and there is definitely enough. I don't drink coffee either. I'm just not interested in it. And I love the smell. Weirdly enough, I love the smell of chocolate and I love the smell of coffee. I even don't mind the smell of cigarettes sometimes. Cigars is more attractive. But I remember my father saying he didn't mind the smell of cigarettes, but he never smoked his whole life. And I was like, that's weird because they stink. But cigars smell good. They have a certain leafy, fresh tobacco smell, which is different than a chemically filtered, treated cigarette. But anyway, some things can be attractive to you and you just don't have to consume them. You just like the atmosphere of something. Some people like to go to bars and they don't like to drink very much. And I always found that strange because that's what you do at a bar. You buy alcohol and you drink. But some people just hang out and they like socializing and they like the atmosphere. They like the energy, they like dancing, they like talking. So you can talk about this in different ways. Addictions, obsessions, personal, other people. You can talk about it as if you're explaining how to resist it, how to control it, or how you manage your interest in a certain thing. You can certainly be addicted to your phone. I think that's one of the things that I find hard to control. Whenever I don't have my phone, I don't really know what to do with myself, and I don't know where to get information. Like what's the temperature? Where am I? I need my GPS. Where's my my navigation? I can't phone anybody. I don't know how to contact anyone. I can't listen to a book or music or watch a video. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Just stand here and do nothing? That kind of anxiety is probably, or lack of, like, oh, I've done it so much that maybe you can't say I'm quite addicted to my phone, but I'm just like, I use it so much that I don't know what to do when I don't have it. If I'm not working and I don't have my phone, I've got to be doing something active. Like I'm playing sports, I can put my phone down and play sports. But if I'm just walking around or I'm waiting for the bus and I have no phone, I don't know what to do with myself. I start like looking up at the sky and wondering why I'm here, which is probably good for me. So things that become you become so dependent on them, those are okay too. Addictions to smartphones, addictions to electronic devices, or other things that you have to have with you. You can't be without them. Those will be okay for this topic too, okay? What do we got here? In terms of grammar, what does it give us? Just the active voice and the passive voice. Pretty easy one, whether the subject is doing the action or the action is being done to the subject, active, passive. So people make chocolate from cacao beans. Chocolate is made from cacao beans. So when the action is being done to the subject, passive voice. When the subject is doing the action, active voice. That's it. Easy stuff, right? So if you're making a statement, you're probably going to use the active voice. But like if you're explaining a situation, right, in a definition or something, passive voice usually works better. Okay, that's all for today. Things are going well. I know you're working on your presentation stuff. So send me an email if you have a question about your topic or whatever, but please follow the guidelines. If you email me something about the presentation and I've said it in lecture and I've written it, I don't think I need to write it again on an email. So read carefully, and if your question is already answered, that's not a very good question. But if you want to ask me about your specific topic, please let me know. If you have any other concerns about format or anything, but basically you can use any cloud program. So you can use Naver has a cloud, Apple has a cloud, Google Drive you can use. So the file might get too big. Just give me a link so that I can see it, and make sure I get it and that I know about it, because usually the Naver one usually expires after a month. So I don't want to be stuck, in the middle of June not being able to see what you did if I don't get to it. So be aware, if you send it early, like in the next week, if I don't get around to it, I might have to request you to send it again. You might have to renew, the month expiry date so that I can see it later on, depending on how I do with my grading, okay? So that's it for today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you again next week. Take care.